All right, so we're leaving. We just left the Richland Cemetery, which is a real old historic cemetery up towards Ben Hur. And we did 3 stones there before the world-ending rainstorm came upon us. And we, the first one we did was a man who I've been writing an article about, named John Stanford. He was a private in the Union Army. His story is particularly tragic because he enlisted and went into training at Fort Smith, I believe it was, and he got a letter from his wife who said that his father and 2 brothers had been murdered by bushwhackers, which is local parlance for some kind of guerrilla, and that they were starving. So he deserted his unit and came back home to his family. Well, he'd only been there a matter of days before he was murdered as well by guerrillas. And the record stated that he was murdered by a Querelle, which I figure is supposed to be Quantrill, who is, of course, William Clark Quantrill, the famous Confederate guerrilla. But that's a mistake in the official records, because by early 1865, Quantrill was headed into Kentucky on what would become his last raid. So it was some form of guerrilla. But he was murdered, and family legend holds that his body was taken and buried next to his brothers in the Richland Cemetery. So we actually put him at a headstone. That was in 1865 when he was killed. So he's been there for 160 years till today without a headstone.
My name is Susie Tennyson, Susie Standridge Tennyson. And we are at the Richland Cemetery where a lot of my ancestors are buried. And my husband takes care of the cemetery. And we are here today thanks to Travis Holt. He is setting some stones of unmarked people. You walk around the cemetery and there are so many unmarked graves, and nobody knows who they are, and that's sad. I think Travis is a really good guy, and I really, really appreciate him doing it. He had came up here once before and put my great uncle's stone. My great uncle had a stone, but it had broken off. It was old, and the top of it got lost somehow or another. And he came up here and he set one up for him, and I appreciated that. And I found Travis on Facebook and got to reading his stories and really enjoyed them.
And interesting little aside, the family legend also states when his father and 2 brothers were buried there, they were buried at night by the women. All the men were off in the war, and they dug a hole deep as they could and laid a feather mattress down, placed the bodies on it, put another feather mattress on top of them, and covered them up with dirt. And they claimed for years when the wind would blow through the Richland Cemetery, feathers would spiral up out of that grave and fly away on the wind. And that's a local legend that was apparently very true. And while we were there, we did 2 more multiple stones for a lot of the founding families. We marked some Standridges, Joneses, Savages. There were some other Wilsons, some local names. Many of them early settlers or kinfolks. And it was just a really neat experience. We had Susie Standridge Tennyson and her family was there. We had Donnie Waldo was there, who has a lot of knowledge. Him and Susie both have a lot of knowledge. That's their ancestral cemetery. But for the most part, it was a really cool day. We got to mark, I think, 16 graves there that never had markers, and John Standridge being the longest one, 160 years without a headstone. So that was a pretty cool experience to remember somebody. And the end of John's story, I should have probably said that earlier. The end of John's story is actually that his widow applied for a pension later because they were destitute, and she was denied because he deserted his unit. Well, the captain of his unit, who was James Vanderpool, they called him Captain Jimmy, he actually went and testified before a committee that had he not been murdered, he definitely would have returned to duty with his unit. And due to his testimony, they became more lenient, and they dropped desertion and changed it to absent without leave, AWOL. And so she was awarded some small form of compensation, which is better than nothing, but because she would have received nothing for desertion. So that was kind of a small bright spot in such a black story. But it was pretty cool to actually have some of the Standridge family on hand and to hear what they knew about it. And I'm hoping to put that all together in my article and have that out pretty soon. So just a really cool day. Another set of great stories, another great story from the hills, from Richland Cemetery.